say, hold up, wait a minute. Y'all telling me I got to pay this joker. You know what I'm saying? For my God to hear my prayer, man, I'm out of here.
And that's exactly right. That's exactly what's wrong with the church. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Reese, and we are going to jump right into the video. This video is a Kurt Franklin's series, Den of Kings, and he had on Eric Bellinger, T.I., Jacquees, Jermaine Dupri on where they're from. We're not going to react to the whole video. We're just going to react to a part of it. And this one is kind of just it's a part of the video I thought was very interesting. So let's just jump into it, huh?
My family to have to endure that.
I got a question for that. As like a man that has provided to give his kids a completely different upbringing, how do you instill in them the same grit that you developed in the hood? They ain't in the hood. They gated community. I
remember on the show you used to take them down.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they are adjacent because, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, my cousins still they cousins, my uncles still they uncles. And to be honest with you, my oldest sons, Damani, he'll tell people all the time, yeah, like I went to see my dad and live with him on the weekend. But when I went back to my mama's house, I was still in apartments in the neighborhood, going to school, public school. You know what I'm saying? So they still kind of got a chance to, how do I say, be properly motivated. Because every young man, every child want to do for their mother in a way. You know what I'm saying? So they hustle. My oldest son, his motivation is, man, I want to buy my mama a house the way you bought your mama a house. I want to do for mine the way I saw you do for yours. And other kids.
You know, and we might start off this video a little controversial. I don't know if I agree with that. Not putting or instilling grit into your kids. I agree with that part. But kind of what he was talking about, his oldest wanting to buy his mom a house because she would live in an apartment while T.I. was this generational rapper. I don't know. And maybe it's just kind of like, you know, with the cards that you dealt, you deal with it, you know, however you deal with it. And so it's kind of like a, how do I say, like, you know, me and the mom aren't together, so I have no obligation outside the kid to them. But to me, how I live my life, I only got one baby mama, and it's my wife, right? And so for me, it's, I have to make sure my wife is good. I have to make sure my baby mama is good. I don't want my son growing up with that in his mind where I gotta buy my mama a house. I should have already bought her a house. I should have already bought my son's mama a house. That's how I feel. I like by the time he's grown, his mom should already be in the house. You know, that shouldn't be the thing that he's focused on. The thing he should be focused on is building up, you know, his wealth, building up his repertoire, building up his resources, his skills, so that when he has a family of his own, then he can buy his son's mama house, his daughter's mama house, his kid's mama house. That's what I believe. Wanting to instill grit into your kid, I think is a great thing. I think teaching them responsibility young, having them get a job young, letting them know that, hey, this money that I give you is, you only got access to it for but so long. Like, I'm here to support you, but like you're not gonna be just living, you know, off of me forever. And like instilling that young, and you know, instilling a hustle into them young, instilling a good work ethic into them young. I think all that's great, but when it gets to like, you know, you're using like, oh, he wants to buy his mama house the way I bought my mama house, it's like, yeah, but you impregnated her. And however it happened is however it happened, but like, to me, I wouldn't want to instill in my kid. I'm not judging T.I. for this, you know what I'm saying? Whatever the situation is whatever the situation is. How I think of the person who's gonna buy my son's mama house is gonna be me. That's how I feel about that.
I feel like as long as you earn everything you have, As long as you earn everything you have, you know, my children, man, to the point now, they don't like to ask me for nothing, 'cause they know it coming with some. It ain't just no quiet here. It's like, all right, so when I'm gonna get this back? How we doing this? What are you doing? What are you doing to deserve this? How are you going to earn? What are you going to do to add value to whatever it is? Now, I support you, but what are you going to do to earn this level of support?
Yeah. He is the foundation for his children, and he's using, you know, and he's trying to push them to greater heights. It's like, okay, you know, and I don't know him, but I'm gonna assume he don't mean just in like the entertainment business. I'm assuming he means in anything that they do. If they want to open a car washing business, it's like, okay, you gonna give me I'm gonna help support you in that, but like, this is a loan. This ain't a gift. This ain't no handout. Like, you gonna have to pay me back for this. So if you do ask me for money, you gotta make sure that you got a game plan on how you gonna get that money back to me. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a beautiful thing, because there's a lot of especially in the black culture, growing up, I would hear from my mom, from my grandma, like from like a lot, I would hear where it's like, well, I got out the mud, so you gotta get out the mud too. Is where it's like, I have to start from where you started and then go further for you to be proud of me. Where like, instead of building off of the platform that you already built and then pushing me further ahead so I have that advantage, it's you gotta start from the mud. You gotta start from ground zero, and then you gotta go make your own way, instead of having a support system or a foundation to push off of, like a lot of other cultures, I would say, have. And that was something that I grew up with. Not everybody in my family thought like that, but like there was definitely a lot of people where they would say that, and that's how they would treat their kids. Whereas like, if you know what I'm saying, if you want to do something, you want to make something out of yourself, if you want to whatever, you got to start from ground zero. You ain't gonna get support from nothing.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's the one thing that I can do and just kind of speak to them, for lack of a better term, professionally. You know what I'm saying? You know, talk to them about profit and loss, about liabilities versus assets, and you know what I'm saying?
No, great question.
Just speaking to them in the old manners and like, man, what are you going to do to bring something to the table? Because there shall come a time. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm gonna kick back and I'm gonna be feeding off you.
So, man, let me ask y'all this one. Let me ask y'all this one.
That part, I don't agree. I think. Well, the Bible talks about a man leaving an inheritance not only just for his kids, but also his kids' kids, and I believe in that, where we should be pushing the resources for the next generation, not taking from, right? And obviously, he has enough to, I'm sure, like, you know, whatever his setup is going to be way greater than 99% of people. And I'm sure he's probably even joking, right? He's probably even joking. But I do see that where it's like there is a culture of work ourselves to the bone, not make enough money, and then have our kids take care of us. I would like to see that culture flip at some point, where it's, you know, we invest smartly, we do things early, we get in the ground, and that comes with financial literacy that you know, a lot of people don't have access to. But you know, there's workshops, there's things, especially with the internet now, there's just more resources to get financially literate, so we can grow into where it is when retirement comes, that we have money in the bank that we can save or even give to our kids when we die, right? It should be about the legacy, where we're not, because like with my kids, what I want them to be focusing on once they're grown is their own families and building that up. And I don't want to give them the extra burden of having to take care of me, having to take care of my wife and things like that. That's how I see that.
This one that's kind of fun and just kind of funny for me, in a good way, is because I would love to know y'all's perspective based on the journeys that y'all taken in life. So like, So like we're all from the mud, right? We're all from the block. Right. Facts, right? And we know in every community, every hood community, is that local little hood church, right? You know what I'm saying? Every community got that little local hood church, got that, got that window, they got the AC box sticking out of it, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's small, they don't smell always the best, got the ceiling fans, you know what I'm saying? Got the, church fans up in there. And do you guys remember a local, like hood church when you were coming up? That was like the little church that that maybe your aunt and grandmama and them went to.
Oh yeah, it's still open. Both of them.
My question to y'all is that how do you feel like those local churches, how did they benefit the communities? And what are some things that you wish that they could have even done different or better to even help the communities?
I was young. I was gonna say I was young to see.
No, man, I want you to say something.
I think.
No, I was gonna say I was young to see, but from what I remember going to church, like when I was younger, because now if I go into church, I go to change church sometimes. Pastor Darius Daniels.
No, he's dope.
Yeah,
He's
super dope. So, but when I was young, like the Broadnecks is our family. We got a church over there, and it's in East Atlanta. It's off. I think it's down Glenwood somewhere. Kirkwood. It's in Kirkwood. But I remember being young over there, and we would really learn about God. You know what I'm saying? And I remember the Sundays that I used to love was the ones like where they got the food. You know, so after church, like it would be the food.
Yes,
Cause I remember they used to always have the ice cream. That's how I started liking the tub of ice cream with the vanilla, the strawberry, and the chocolate one.
What is it called?
Yeah,
Neapolitan?
Yes.
Yeah. That's the one we used to always have. But I remember they used to feed the community. You know what I mean? And I remember like people, like with church back then, it felt like the people was like different. You know what I mean? I don't know how to say it. Like it wasn't a come as you are church, of course. You had to dress as you went for Sunday. But just the love and respect for people, I think, was different. Like my grandmother used to love Pastor Clemens. That was the pastor. You know what I'm saying? She used to love Pastor Clemens. Like, but just Pastor Clemens being a pastor, like what Tip said, like I never looked at him like he was God or something. You know, I knew he was a regular human, but even as a child, I'm like, but Pastor Clemens still dope because he the one that's teaching us about everything that we learning. You know, so I feel like it was dope for the East Atlanta community to have a place to go to church and just to feel God. But
yeah, it really feels like what you're talking about is a church that is focused on community, focus on fellowship, and that's really dope. And even that mindset of looking at the pastor, even though the pastor, he's looked at as the leader of that church, not looking at him in the place of God, and looking at him as what he is, which is a man, a human, a flawed being, and not taking that farther than that, because a lot of people mistake their relationship with their pastor with their relationship with God. And so if their pastor hurt them, they feel like God hurt them. And if their pastor taught them a bad false doctrine or a bad doctrine or took advantage of them anyway, then they feel like God did that. You know what I'm saying? And that is, to me, it's a very unhealthy way of looking at church. Church isn't a place you go. A church isn't a place you go to have someone spoon feed you your relationship with God. It's a place you go to maybe when you're broken and when you're down, and help you get back, help you get back on your feet, take care of you, love you. That's what they're there for, to support you, listen, all that stuff, to help give you, wisdom and guidance, all that stuff. But like your relationship with God, that's a personal thing. That's something where you have to look inward, you have to look within yourself, and I just think a lot of people, they confuse that with the relationship with their pastor, where it's like if their pastor do something, then God failed them. And as someone who's been through church, or someone who's been hurt by pastors and hurt by people, and it took a while for me to recover from that. I think it's made me stronger, realizing that my relationship my relationship with God, whether it gets stronger or weaker, isn't on anybody else except me. It's not on my path. I could. I don't suggest it, but I could not go to another church, and my relationship with God will still. It will be on me. It will be on me to strengthen, on me to read, to pray, to fast, to all that stuff, to listen, to be obedient. That will be on me. That's not on other people. Of my relationship get strong. That's not on the pastor. That's on nobody else.
What could they have done differently? I don't know, because I was too young to know.
Gotcha.
So all I knew is like going to church, standing behind the little thing, just turning it up. You know what I'm saying? That's just all I knew. Eating the food on Sundays, being with my grandmother. So y'all would probably know more.
What?
I mean, that's where I exit, because I grew up Catholic.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
School me
learned
on
so
that, though.
much about JD today, dog.
No, man, I want to know about that. How was that for you?
I don't know, it's just different. I think it's I always tell people my life seemed like it was, I mean, God designed my life to be a certain type of way, because I became a certain type of kid, right? And growing up, like I said, after I went on the Fresh Fest, I was completely hip hop, right? I got kicked out of school when I came back to Atlanta for not wearing shoelaces on my sneakers. That wasn't happening, right? And going to Catholic church, you could go to Catholic church how you want to go to Catholic church, right? So it just felt like that's where I was supposed to be at.
Wow.
Right? And you know, my grandmother now, I had grandmothers that was.
Is that a new thing? I went to like a Catholic. That was not the vibe that we went with. Is like you had to dress up a little bit. You couldn't just go if you were like a regular member. I don't know if it's like if you're new or you stumble off the street or whatever, but like if you were a regular member, you had to. I ain't never heard that. To me is very surprising.
They had Baptist churches, and I used to go see them in North Carolina. And I used to be like, why?
How was that? How was that for you?
Why y'all in church so long? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'll be in the house, because I wouldn't go to church with them, because I wouldn't go to church with them because they had to get dressed up and all that. And I'm like, we don't do that at my church. We don't do that. I can go up in there with this shirt on. Nah, you can't go. So, and same thing. They used to eat and go back to church. I'm like, what's going on? I couldn't really never understand it, but I used to ask them.
Yo, I remember being a kid and visiting my grandma, staying with my grandma. And she was living in Virginia. And going to church would be an all-day event. Like, if you went to church, just be prepared. You ain't coming home until like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. You gonna be at church, eat, go back to church. Not like it was like it was gonna be an all day thing. You would not go, hey, it was the Lord's day, it was not your day. Huh? And they treat it like that. It was like, this is for the Lord. Don't even think about having the day for yourself. It was like, oh, okay, got it. All right, Grandma. I hear you.
The questions, but yeah, I grew up Catholic.
What about you, Brown?
I think the best thing was the family camaraderie. You know what I mean? Like, I grew up in the church since I was a baby, lifted up, dedicated like Simba. You know what I mean? Yeah, roots. So it was like, it was family, but I think when I like got older and started wanting to sing R&B, that's when it got tricky too, because it's like, they all look at me like that's Lil E, like we're all his, you know what I'm saying, like father figures, mother figures, auntie figures. And when it was like, yo, I wanted to sing this R&B music, I was judged bad.
Wow.
You know?
But that's interesting, because all R&B comes from church.
Yeah.
I've been telling people this.
Yeah.
And that part is tricky. It's not tricky, but it is unfortunate. I think I've seen a recent change in this, but historically, at least in America, churches haven't been good at using the gifts of people who think differently. And I guess what I mean by that is that people have like, it's kind of like Eric Benji is a fantastic R&B singer, and he has that gift. And it's like, if you don't want to just sing in the choir or sing gospel, then that is an issue. Then that is a problem. Then you don't fit in within the box. And so it's really hard. And so now you want to go sing R&B, you know what I'm saying? And we're gonna judge you for that. And that's rough because it can, one, this is the connotation R&B has to deal with. It's obviously it's turned into a very sexual, sensual, it's a freaky genre. It's a freaky genre. It's a freaky genre, right? And so people, they're gonna associate with, hey, you want to sing R&B? Oh, you want to sing that sex music? You want to sing that nasty, sinful sex music? I've heard some pretty good Christian R&B, where it's about, you know, that first love. It's about that the look in her eyes. It's about the first time we kissed, the first time I met your family, the butterflies I felt proposing to you. Like, it's like, I've heard some pretty good one where it doesn't have to be that. Where if they maybe took him and directed him, was like, hey, you don't got to go all the way down there, but you can. But like, romance is a real part. Romance is a real part of you know, of the human experience, you know, of Christianity, of you know, building a family. You know, I don't got a kid because I just kissed, really. Like, no, like sex happened. That's why I have a kid. And so it's like, you know, but if maybe he was directed more in a way where it didn't have to be all or nothing, you know what I'm saying, then maybe, you know, he wouldn't have felt so judged, and he felt like, oh, I can actually, the thing I, you know, desire I want to do is sing R&B. I can actually use that for the Lord. I can use that, you know, and give another option for people, you know. But like I said, historically, the church has done really bad at that, where it's like, if your talents don't fit within the four walls of that church, then you don't really feel like you belong, you know. And that's sad, because the body is made up of a lot of different parts. You know, the church is, the body is made of a lot of different parts. So in every aspect, there should be somebody. There's somebody with a gifting for something, and it can be used. You know, it just got, you know, maybe it just takes one, a creative mind, and two, you know, wise counsel, wise guidance. You know.
But they judge you if you do R&B.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It was bad. That's a good.
Very
That's a
interesting.
But they won't let me. You be dancing now. How you get around this, man?
You know, I get judged.
I mean, you got a whole Louis Vuitton suit on right now. I mean, you just. I mean, what is it? What is the motion of you being judged? What is that? I mean, does that play into your? You know, you saying.
You know, Jesus was judged by the church as well.
We all judged.
You know what I'm saying?
Great question, and it's been painful. You know, and at the same time, I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of. I'm not afraid of anyone wanting to make sure that my intents are genuine. So that doesn't scare me. I welcome it, because I may not always be getting it right. You know, that doesn't, just because I say that I rock with God, don't mean I am God. And so I'm going to fail. I'm going to mess up. I'm not going to get it all right. So I welcome when people have a critique. And it's because what it does, it causes me to go back, pray, study, see if there's something I need to change, something I need to grow from, because I want to be the best example for the Lord that I can be. Not perfect, but I really want to be that. I think that what the hardest thing for me is that when people's judgment, when it turns into their definitive of who I am, that's what's hard for me, is that they may not understand or agree with my motives, or my execution, not motives, but my execution of what I do, but it does not mean that my motives are not pure. And I think that that's where I war with. And so, but yeah, it's not always easy.
Yeah, I wanted to let him finish that. Kurt Franklin to me is a very interesting he's a very interesting person, because for me, one of his albums is literally it's one of my like top 5 albums of like all time. The Rebirth of Kurt Franklin is one of my favorite albums of all time. It's like hands down, not even like there's no skips for me. Like full through backwards, I can re-listen to that, right? And then over the years, as he's become more and more of a public figure, I don't need Christian Christian entertainers, Christian influence. Influence sounds nasty. Anyway, I don't need Christians in the spotlight to be perfect. I really don't. That's not something. I don't need them to fake being perfect for the guise of whatever. But I think for me, something with Kurt Franklin is that he's just been at it for so long, and whenever I see him talking, or whenever I see him, interacting with like other celebrities, or other unsaved celebrities or whatever, I feel like they'll be talking about something, and it'll be like a real big, real deep, and he'll not know how to approach that. And to me, it's like you've been in this walk for decades at this point, longer than I've been alive. And there's people gonna have hard questions. You don't need to know everything, but there'll be like hard questions, like deep questions, but like simple questions. It's like the first thing that people like when they're like challenging God or challenging Christianity. It's the first questions that they really ask. It's like at this point you should know how to answer those questions, and I feel like he kind of either dances around it or like he doesn't really interact with those things, and so it's like it's hard for me because I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I want to say that he is doing XYZ the best, or like he's killing, and that maybe it's an off day for him, maybe he doesn't feel comfortable answering that, probably whatever it is. But it's like you've opted into this life now at this point. It's like maybe before it was just worship, but now it's like, listen, he started a whole show. This is Den Kings. This is his show. He paid for all that stuff. Now so now people are gonna hear what you have to say, not just what you had to sing or orchestrate. They're gonna have to hear what you have to say, and they're gonna challenge, see if if your doctrine's on point. They're gonna see if if what you're saying aligns with the word. They're gonna see all of that. And so like when you're in the spotlight, you're gonna be judged harshly, but that's kind of what comes with being in the spotlight, being judged more harshly. Now I'm sure he knows that. I'm sure there's no surprise. It's just that for me it can be sometimes a little bit frustrating, because people like even on the show, there's been a couple episodes, like what was it when Ray J was on? Ray J was talking about how he hated going to church, how he and it was like a real big thing. And before they could even get to that point, and they could have even addressed what he was talking about, it would have been a real good discussion. Subject got changed, and then we never went back to it. And so for me, that's like you missed the opportunity again. You missed the opportunity again. And for me, that's like just something I've seen kind of over and over with Kurt Franklin specifically. Not that he does. I don't know what he does in quiet time. It's just that at least what I've seen on camera, It's just that a man of the how many years he's been in the walk, I guess it leaves a lot to be desired, in my opinion. And hey, what's my opinion?
You know,
I've never been like a church person. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in a house with a strong, praying, tambourine bumping grandmama. You know what I'm saying? My auntie, strong, very, very strong in prayer. So I know how to pray and I know the word. You know what I'm saying? I know God is real and I've seen the presence in the hand that he's had in my life personally. Don't nobody ain't got to tell me that. I just ain't never felt the connection with church.
why?
Man, I don't know. It just ain't. To be honest with you, I don't think it's real. You know what I'm saying? I think that it's a business just like anything else, and it's a show just like anything else. You know what I mean? Just like you go to Broadway, you see a show. I feel like it's just like somebody standing up and public speaking, just like you get like a TED talk. And a lot of times they be putting a lot of cap on it. And when I say cap, I'm saying cap in their action. The word is the word, but sometimes they try and twist the word, make the word mean something, you know, that will be personally benefiting to them, and not necessarily what the word mean, you know, as its purpose. And that to me, because if you think about it, only times when you read the word, anybody know the word, and you study the life of Jesus Christ, the only time you really saw Jesus Christ lose his temper was in the church. He went to the church and seen what was going on in the church, seeing how the church people were handling the word of God and what they were doing to manipulate it, to personally benefit, you know, from the word of God. That's when Jesus got mad, flip the table.
Oh, that's when he flipped the table.
Yeah, flip the table. You know what I'm saying? And he had Jesus out here like he don't love hip hop. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But that's why. Cause I connect with the word, like the true word, the spirit. I don't need no broker. I don't need no middleman. I don't need nobody to get my word. You know, I done heard a preacher, I've been in church before, and the preacher say, come on, y'all, put into the collection plate, dig deeper, get your prayers past the ceiling. I say, hold up, wait a minute. Y'all telling me I got to pay this joker, you know what I'm saying, for my God to hear my prayer? Man, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying?
No,
And that's exactly right. That's exactly what's wrong with the church. That's exactly what's wrong with the church. That's exactly what's wrong with, I'll say, the American church. Oh my goodness, that was okay. Hey, Tip. I ain't peep. I ain't know you. You roll like that. I Ti, King of the South. I ain't mad at you. Listen, I have a growing frustration with spectacle in the church. I have a growing frustration with the performance aspect of the church. It's like, listen, you want to have a good band, you want to have good music, you know what I'm saying? You want to have, you know, a good sermon, fine, cool, whatever. Once it becomes, like he said, a TED talk where people come in, they come for the performance, they come for the talk, and then they leave, you've done something wrong. That's not church. That's a conference. You did something wrong. That's a festival. That you know what I'm saying? Like you did something wrong. If you read the Bible, is sermon part is worship part of church? Yes. Not worship like we know it today, but it's part of church. Is a teaching part of the church? Yes. You know what's also a big part of the church? Fellowship afterwards. That's also a big part of the church. In fact, I would argue it was that was what happened most of the time. Is the teaching was a small amount of time, 30, 45 minutes maybe, and the rest was fellowship, where you come together and you fellowship with others. And what does fellowship mean? Is coming together with your brothers and sisters, and you are talking. And you're talking about your walk with God, what you're struggling with, anything that you may need support in, anything that you can help other people with. If they have a need in something that you can maybe intercede with, that you guys can pray together about. It's like, hey, can you pray over my my son? He was sick this week. He's like, absolutely, I got you. like let's do that right now. It's like, and then also food was a big thing. That's what a lot of black churches, especially Baptists in the South, is like food was a big thing when you eat after church. But it's about talking. It's about coming together. It's about interacting. It's about finding those mentors, those people who are going to disciple you, people who are going to help you grow. That was what church did when you gathered. That was the majority of it. It was congregating and talking to each other. That you knew everybody in your church by name. That you knew what they were struggling with and what what was happening in their family, not for no gossip reason, but for prayer reasons, to help them out. It's like, if you run into somebody who can help them, they're in your mind because you know what's going on. But church has lost a lot of that personality, that personal connection, and went into the route of a concert, went into the route of a festival, of a conference, where it is more impersonal, and it is more about people coming, hearing a nice word, listening to nice music, and then going home. That's not what church was supposed to be. So T.I. is 100%. He is 100% correct. He's 100% correct. But not to say there's not churches like that out there. I've been to a lot of plenty of great churches that are personal, where you are able to. I go to a church like that now, where it's there are people for you to connect. There's you fellowship with people. It's just that I've seen that it's few and far between, which is very unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. Like that. Those moments are unfortunate.
I mean, they are, and I'm not, and I don't put that. I don't put that on the entire, because I think for the most part, there are people who are strong, church-going, God-fearing people that go to church with the intention of serving and praising God. However, I think there's some leadership. There's enough leadership. There's enough people in enough positions that understand that there is ways to manipulate this word to personally benefit.
Man, thank you for sharing that with us.
You dig what I'm saying?
Thank you. And just like, I mean, there are good churches.
I just can listen to you talk, bro.
But I mean, like I said before, I look at preachers. Preachers are human beings. I don't expect perfection from. I done sold crack to preachers. I done sold dope to preachers. I done had drinks with preachers. I done gambled with preachers. You know what I'm saying? But that don't mean they did. I've learned the word also in my exchange. You know what I'm saying?
But if we have more time, if I can get some more water, it's because I want to ask one quick question, but I'm gonna need a little water to ask this one. I'm gonna ask y'all. I just got one question.
I just want to say to y'all, as like young boys in the game, back to the thing about putting that pressure, being able to take the hood on. Like, one thing I learned is that you don't ever give somebody something they ain't asked for. Don't ever give nobody something they ain't asked for. Your homeboys ain't ask you to work for you, don't give it to them, because they ain't gonna never appreciate it. They gonna look at it the wrong way. If they ask for it, then you let them do it. But if they don't ask for it, don't give it to them.
If I may add on, and also I'm gonna tell you this: the best way to help people in need is not to become one.
Amen.
You feel me? So keep doing for you and make sure that you ain't the person that's next to them needing somebody to do. Because when somebody do something, let them be in line for that first blessing. You know what I'm saying? Don't be in there trying to stop the blessings and stop it from getting to them, because you straight now. Now the next blessing hit the hood, gonna go to them. You feel me? So the best way to help people in need is not to become one.
Y'all finish this sentence for me. Where I'm from made me
king.
Dang, you took mine.
Where I'm from made me
millionaire.
Oh, God.
Resilient, bro. Resilient, bro. That's all I got.
Legendary.
Was that? Was that the question Kirk wanted? I thought he was going to ask something that followed up what T.I. just said. I thought, I don't want to sound like a hater. That's not what, I don't want to sound like a hater. But, like, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, it's is T.I. brought up a really good point about churches and the performativeness of church and all that stuff. And Kurt Franklin just let that go. With no, I'm not asking for a pushback. I'm not asking for no debate or nothing. But at least like another perspective. Like, or speak to it where it's like, well, or like speak to it, like talk about like where it's like, oh, well, that wasn't the original intent of church. The original intent of church was this. It's like, but there was none of that, and that's the frustrating thing for me. That's like the, man, like that's the frustrating thing when it comes to me, when it comes to Kurt. It's like right there. It's like always right there, but he misses it, bro. But he misses it, man. Oh my goodness, we were so close. We were so close. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it, guys. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate y'all, and I appreciate y'all coming and watching this video with me. I hope it got y'all thinking. If y'all have anything that I said, how y'all feel about church, hey, leave it down in the comment. If you hate church, if you love church, if you've been hurt by church, hey, leave it down in the comments. Let me know. I'd love to talk to y'all about that. You know what I'm saying? We can get a respectful discussion in the comments, maybe. I know it's the internet, but who knows? I appreciate y'all. Hey, stay blessed, don't stress. I'll see y'all in the next. Peace.
Dangerous game. Just a moment with the wrong thought. Here comes the downfall like a flood, like a flood.